Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Today I've got this beautiful, traditional Japanese style home. Well, inspired by, I am not Japanese in the slightest, so I'm really just kind of guessing here. I built an Mount Komorebi, that world that came with the skiing and stuff, because I really, really love that world. It's just a really great aesthetic. So I guess I'll chime back in if I have anything else to say later, I guess, and turn the music up. Okay, so roofs. I fiddle with roofs a lot. They don't always seem to work out the way I want them to, so I end up doing a lot with them. I thought about kind of cutting all of this out, like where I'm just kind of fiddling with the roofs to make them look as close to the way I want them to look as possible. But then I changed my mind because, what if somebody looks at this and says, I never thought of doing it that way, and this really helps me with this build that I'm working on. So I left it in. It is, of course, sped up because it is probably god awful to watch regular speed, but you can kind of see what I did to make the roofs not look so kind of wonky at the intersection points. That's usually my main beef with roofs and why I kind of fiddle with them so much. So hopefully this got me as close, did get me as close to where I wanted to get with these roofs. But if it does help anyone with some ideas, because by no means am I masterful at this, I look up videos on roofs all the time. Hopefully it helps someone who was looking for a way to do this. So as you can tell, probably, this kitchen ended up having quite a few little bits that are custom content. I cut out these parts, but I actually stopped building like after I placed each piece of custom content and made sure that I like made note of what it was, so I could go back and give you guys a full list of what I used to clutter, because like there's stuff already in the base game, but it's not a lot and it's not really awesome. So this room probably has more custom content than any room that I put in this house. But honestly, I'm really happy with how it came out. It's a really like cozy kitchen. It's not a huge kitchen, but it's got what you need in it. Like you could have like, it's big enough for more than 2 people to be in it without like getting in each other's way, which is really kind of what I was going for, because the house isn't massive and it wasn't meant to be. So I figured it was just, enough space for like a small family, because odds are, like, I mean, y'all, if y'all got kids, you know what I'm talking about. You be in the kitchen cooking, and here comes your kid like, I'm hungry, and you're like, I'm cooking, and they're like, but I want yogurt or something. And then y'all just be stepping all over each other. So I did note every single solitary piece of custom content that's in this build. I made sure that I did it as I was building. So if you guys end up wanting this house, because I will put it up on the thing in the game, the gallery. Yeah, that's it. You can also follow the links that I put in the description below to get all of the custom content, so nothing like, weirds out on you and everything still works. So it may not be obvious watching this back, but I don't really plan a lot before building. Like, I might look at some pictures for some sort of inspiration, but I don't really plan the layout or which rooms are going to be what, because I don't know why. I just don't. It always seems to work out better when I don't, because I usually don't end up following the plan anyway. It looks good in your head, but it doesn't look good in practice. So this living room was originally going to be the dining room, which is, like, earlier in the video why you noticed that the table was in there at first, because I just kind of shoved it in there so I didn't have to find it later, and I ended up not putting it in here. So this is a nice little dining room. It's kind of narrow, but it's okay. Like, I think it works. I did think about trying to move around the couch, because basically anyone walking through the house, like to the kitchen, would have to walk in front of you if you're sitting on the couch. like watching television or something. But you know what? Life is tough. So I actually think it works out really well this way. There's like, a little space behind the couch for like storage and stuff. So that's where I put the little decoration box. And then I put a couple little boxes under the hanging shelves that came from Dream Home Decorator. I love that pack. It has a lot of really cute stuff in it. And this actually ended up working out really well because I was able to put in a pretty good sized TV without having it take up like the whole wall or, a lot of space. I did struggle with that wall light a lot. I really was not sure what to put there. And I've noticed a lot of the lights in the game are very cool toned and I prefer like warm lights. So that ended up being something that made it kind of difficult for me to pick lights. Thankfully, a lot of the things that came with the pack that's based on Japan, you know the one I'm talking about. A lot of the lights that came with that one are actually warm light, so that actually helped a lot with this. So what I ended up doing, I'm gonna end up changing some of this as we go, but like what's being built now is I put the bedroom upstairs. And then that's about it. But the nice thing is that because of the way this house is built, like you could totally expand if you wanted to. And that was kind of the idea. These foundations, look. I left this in so you guys could see how fiddly that foundation was being. I ended up just kind of like putting the mouse in the general area and then just clicking the hell out of the mouse until like it finally took. I don't know what was up with that. So we're moving on to an office. I started this build with just like general sim in mind, and then I ended up thinking that maybe it'd be a nice build for the sim that we're playing through right now. So I put in an office for her. So I guess if we end up doing that and moving her to this world, we can like plunk this house down and maybe see how that goes. But until then, I'll be quiet now. Made some space in this office for some like hobby stuff, but you'll note that that's not the only place I put it. This is just kind of the first place I put it. There wasn't really anywhere else that it fit other than here and in the garden, so those are the two places that have hobby like things for her. I left that little cart. It doesn't have any interaction. I just thought it was a really nice like piece. So it's over in the corner, which shouldn't be a problem because like it doesn't really do anything. It just looks nice. And then the last thing we did in the office was toss down this rug. And then we finally we'll get on to putting together the dining room that is actually the dining room instead of originally where I wanted it. That was, of course, after I did the floors and the walls. I don't usually do it right away, but this time I just kind of did it as I was going, which turned out to be a good idea because it took me a second to settle on the right color green for the walls to go with everything once I finally picked an accent color for this room. So here we are on the bedroom, which is the second to last part of the house that we did. There's clutter in here, like as you can see, but I didn't put a ridiculous amount of clutter, kind of like I did downstairs, mostly because this is a bedroom. Like, it's not supposed to be cluttered and stress you out at the end of the day. It's supposed to be like peaceful, where you can like come in and lay down for the night and get some sleep. So there's like comfort stuff in there, but there's not like a whole bunch of clutter. And then I did eventually put in like a little sitting area, because this room is kind of big, and I didn't want to just leave like empty spot there. So, you know, I gave her like a little chest for her clothes and stuff, put some little decorative bits up there, and then put in a couple of chairs as a nice little sitting area, so that it's just, you know, a nice, peaceful, calm place for the end of the day. I just realized y'all can probably hear my dryer in the background, so if you hear like a clicking sound or whatever, it's my dryer. I'm sorry. I do not have a dedicated office for this, so like my dryer is like a couple feet to the left. But anyway, back to the build. So I did some landscaping. I didn't do a ridiculous amount, but I did try and do kind of the front and the side of the house, give it a couple of trees and some foliage and things. It's not a huge lot, so it's not like it had a huge backyard for me to put a lot of things in, but I did do a little bit. I had to size down that tree for the front, because all the trees that I thought looked really nice in front of this house were absolutely massive. And then I did put down like some step stones for pathing, and then do a little terrain paint to make it look a little more realistic. That's about all the space there is in the front, which honestly is kind of nice. Like, do you really need all that space? No, not really. But it gives it a little touch, a little something. I do have custom terrain paints, but I didn't use any of them in this one, so that's why there's a whole lot of terrain paints you saw go flying past, but none of them were used. This one is base game, or at least it comes from the game. It's not custom. That's the point. So I did make sure I did that. I did make sure I put in a trash can, which is nice because I have a tendency to forget those sometimes. And then in a little while, once we finish with the front and the side, you'll see that I actually did go back inside because I remembered that I didn't actually put in a full bathroom. I put in like a half bathroom and just left it at that. So that'll be the last piece. And then we'll move into the pictures from the inside of the house.